Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is use repetition to learn. I think with all the things we have to learn, people have kind of forgot about how important repetition is. When you were a kid, the way you learned the alphabet was the repetition. When you learned how to count the number table, you did the repetition. When you learn how to add and subtract and multiply and divide, it was repetition. That's the way people learn the best and the fastest. That's why you picked that up at an early age. Hopefully you did, right? Well, you should always be willing to fall back on that method of repetition, because you want to be able to learn. You want to be able to learn your whole life, and the way you learn is by the repetition. Excuse me a second while I'm getting organized on this drive. Let's say you're in a work setting and you have to learn a talk. Well, the way you get good at this talk is by practicing. When I give a talk at work, I practice it over and over and over again, kind of to the exclusion of everything else. I don't want to go into a talk in front of a bunch of people that I hardly know and probably don't know some of them, and botch it up. So I use the repetition to learn my material backwards and forwards. And of course, it helps if whatever you're talking about, you already kind of know. And that's, in a work setting, you would know that. Everything, though, can be learned by repetition. Let's say you're practicing a new weight training movement. Well, you want to have the repetition to know exactly how to perform the exercise correctly, so it's safe and effective. The repetition, the over and over and over again. That's why when you don't just go in and do one set of a complicated movement. You start out at your heaviest weight. You start out. It's kind of busy here. You start out at a low weight and you get in the groove. So when you're benching and pressing and all of that, and squatting and deadlifting, you start out low and work your way up to get in the groove of the correct movement. You use the repetition to learn how to do that. Practicing your speech, practicing your movements. If you're in a work setting and you have to learn something new, this is really the best way to do it. And usually you don't want to, right? You just want to do it and be done with it. But you'll find that the repetition, the doing it over and over and over again, is where you learn. Say if you want to be good at whatever you're doing, you do it over and over and over again. Right? This is how people learn the best. Repetition, continual repetition. Let's just bring it back to a social thing. How do you meet a new friend, right? You practice, going up to people and talking to them, introducing yourself. You get in the groove of doing it. This will take you back to, what about for meeting ladies, women? Same idea, right? Same idea. Like myself, I didn't really get good at talking with girls when I was in middle school and high school. It really wasn't a thing I was good at. And the guys that did this, who got good at it, of course they become a natural with ladies. And if this is you and you want to have an easier time meeting girls, you would want to do some repetition practice of the kind of things that you would talk to with ladies. You would do some practicing beforehand, what you might say to girls when you're out doing, in a social setting. If you're out in a nightclub, in a bar, at a concert, at a park, at wherever there are people to meet, you would want to figure out, well, how do you how would you meet them, right? What would you, I think I'm gonna go this way. It looks pretty good. Sorry, kind of weird traffic today. So let's just take it a step back with the ladies. There's certain, you would want to figure out how you like to talk. What are you good at talking? What are some of the things that you would say? What are the kind of places you would go to? And you might want to get some dating advice. There are a lot of good programs available, a lot of videos and books and courses for guys. And you want to try to pick up some of the normal things that you could say to girls when you're out, and you would practice these. And this is like to get you started. And of course you would have the natural ebb and flow of a conversation, but you would want to have some normal starter things that you would say. Like I remember back when I was going out with my friends a lot and we were meeting girls, the guys, you're with these guys, your friends every weekend, and they're always meeting girls and they're always saying the same thing every weekend. But see, it's different girls, but they start off by saying the same thing. Like, you don't have to make this so hard on yourself. What difference does it make what you say? You don't have to come up with a new line every girl. You can use the same line, and you may tailor it somewhat over time. But you see what I mean? Use the repetition. Use the repetition as your friend. It's your friend to learn. It's your friend to get good at something. So give that idea some thought. Use repetition to learn.